Hello everybody, Venom here, and welcome back to an episode in which we will react to some behind the scenes content for Halo 4. Now, as you might have noticed, right, by my pristine attire, I decided to not give a fuck about my appearance today. So, yeah, you know, I'm wearing sweatpants. Actually, the sweatpants that Gearbox sent me to, you know, celebrate the release of the Psycho Krieg DLC. Take a look at that, boys. Amazing. Yeah, basically, guys, if you want to see, you know, pictures of my cats, pictures of my sweatpants, and pictures of random stuff that I receive from Gearbox and stuff like that, go ahead and follow me on Twitter, Instagram. I'm not as active as I should be, but there we go. All right, so before we start and react to that wonderful content, I'm going to let you guys peek behind the curtain a bit. As I'm recording this, it's a lovely Saturday morning here in Quebec. My Halo 4 finale just went live, and I'm pleasantly surprised that, you know, it's not disliked too much, because I felt bad recording it because I was really negative about it. And it was kind of the first time that I was releasing like a negative video about Halo. And, you know, Halo is kind of like the reason why my channel is as big as it is today. So I was like, this is gonna be awkward. But you know, guys, I have to give my honest opinion, and I really dislike that mission. So there you go. That was it. Also, guys, I'm going to take a few minutes here to just talk to you about something else, you know. A couple of months ago, I shared a video in which I was like, oh, I'm burning out a bit. This is starting to creep back up again a bit. In the last few weeks, I spent a lot of time on some videos, right? For the Undertale finale, the hardest boss of the game took me a long time to beat, about 4 hours. So instead of, you know, a regular Undertale video taking me about 40 minutes to record, this one actually took me, you know, 5 hours, which kind of wrecked my schedule a bit, you know, just a bit, a lot. And the week afterwards, Cyberpunk released, and when a new game releases and I want to play it, the same case is to be made for any Halo game that came out on the MCC, right? Usually they come out in the middle of the week, so I have to basically plan a night where as soon as the game is available, I download it, I record the episode, then immediately afterwards I re-encode the video to be able to edit it, then I encode that edited video, and then I upload it to YouTube before going to bed. So that's a lot of work, obviously, in a short amount of time. So if we take, for example, the release day of Cyberpunk, right? I worked at my main job for 8 hours, then I waited for 2 hours, recorded. The footage took me about 2 hours, and basically I went to bed at 2 a.m., right? So it was a big day, and I'm tired again. So as of now, as you might have noticed, Sunday I did not upload any video. Sundays are now off. I don't care. I don't need to upload every day, and I need to rest, right? If I'm to make it on YouTube, right, and be there in like 2 years, let's say, I need to pace myself. So that's what I'm doing. Another thing that I wanted to mention is this Spartan Ops and Halo 5. Spartan Ops, a lot of you guys mentioned that to me. This is new for me from today. You know, I got a lot of comments on it on my latest video, and I did not know it existed. So I will need some time to process what I'm going to do with that. I've read online that it's about like 12 hours of additional gameplay. I don't know if I want to do that, to be perfectly honest, because I feel like I've had enough of the Promethean Nights, you know? I don't know. I might react to all the cutscenes. I don't know. I'm checking that out, guys. I'm just, you know, I don't know yet. For Halo 5, I've been thinking I will wait until the new year to start recording it. The good reason for that is that I still need to plug the Xbox. I still need to unpack my capture card and figure out how all of this works. I will do that during the holiday vacation. One thing also that led me to being a bit more tired these days is that slowly I was making longer and longer videos. Let's say, for example, like Halo 4 was a good example. I think it was the second mission of the game that I split it into two. I don't like doing that, especially for missions, because like it's one mission, right? It's a comprehensive whole. So I don't know, I didn't like splitting that mission into two, so I ended up making one episode per mission, which feels great. But also, like, with the amount of time that Undertale took me and everything, it became a lot of content to make. So I've been thinking during the holidays of making some reaction content for Halo in general, right? Like, I know I have reach and stuff that I still need to react to some content and everything. So maybe during the holidays, you know, I will take it easy a bit and maybe just, you know, make some reaction content for Halo instead of playing the games, which ultimately is a bit more work for me. So yeah, there you go. Also, guys, there's a cool video that I've been thinking about doing, and I need you guys' help for that, right? I need your participation. I oftentimes receive comments on my videos about like questions about design or the industry and all that stuff. You guys should actually ask me a bunch of these questions down in the comments below, and I could make like a video of like, oh, game dev answers questions, you know, and I could like go through all your questions in the actual video and just answer them. I think that would be cool. Obviously, nothing specific to, you know, the games I've worked on and stuff like that, because I'm under NDA and all that good stuff. But yeah, if I have enough questions for you guys, I could make a video about it, and it could be cool, right? It could be fun. All right, I've been rambling on for long enough, guys. It's time to delve into Halo 4, A Hero Awakens behind the scenes. Let's watch this video, boys.
Action. I'm giving you the tools, right? I'm giving you the sandbox. I'm setting the table for you, but it's up to you to decide what you want to eat.
Master Chief is human. He's not a machine. He's not a set of armor with a big weapon. He's a human with resilience and courage.
You know, and I was so looking forward to this moment, because for Master Chief, you know, the stoic soldier, the man of few words, all that. But there was this progression, you know, in terms of his emotional side.
Halo 4 did delve Master Chief's character and Cortana too, right? And I feel that is fun. You know, that is something that they can explore a bit more. And I actually don't mind that, you know, like discovering more about the hero behind the Covenant Wars, you know, like I'm entirely down for that. I like this aspect of Halo 4's story a lot.
Even through the first 3 games, but this was going to be the great leap.
What happens when that soldier starts to discover his humanity?
We had to create a situation that was going to knock him out of his comfort zone. The Master Chief has settled into this comfort zone of being the hero. You know, it's interesting. Early on, we talked about the hero's journey, and like, how do you have a hero's journey when he's already a hero?
What are the sacrifices?
Very interesting there. The hero's journey, for those of you who don't know, is kind of like the quintessential like way to tell a story. Like a lot of movies, video games, books like uses the hero's journey as a template for their story, and there's a good reason why. You know, it's just really effective. And yeah, that is interesting. Obviously, like Halo 4 is probably my least favorite Halo out of them all, which is a shame a bit, you know. And also, like, I feel bad a bit for 343 because their mandate is not easy. Like that is not easy, right? It's not. Like having to deliver upon such a highly regarded franchise, it's a huge task. And to be fair, they did not do a bad job, right? There's some things that I didn't like about the game. There's some things, of course, that you can, you know, pick on and be like, oh, they should have done this. That's not ideal. And it's true. But overall, they did still make a pretty enjoyable game, even though there are some spots here and there that I'm like, eh.
That you need to make in order to preserve something as precious as humanity.
The journey is the important part. The growth is the important part. And so really, where does he still need to go as a human? That became the key to not just the story of Halo 4, but the entire trilogy.
We're really examining what sort of burdens a Guardian carries.
In a lot of ways, the story that we're telling with Halo 4 is about putting Chief in circumstances where he's forced to change. He's forced to take stock of himself.
In a way, Chief is a Guardian. Cortana is Chief's Guardian. The Forerunners were the Guardians of their own universe, and they might have to make a decision that not everyone is going to agree with and that some people might condemn.
It's almost like you're a little kid and you're just playing make-believe again. So you imagine everything. The table's here. The plinth for Cortana is here. There's a window here. Ready, go.
it must be hard, man, to film
How
those
can we immerse
scenes
the
for sure.
player even more in this world that we've built around them.
I'm not doing this for mankind.
How can we have Chief have to deal with his own humanity?
Everything had to be predicated by what the character needs were and what direction the characters needed to go in.
The art direction specifically for Halo 4 isn't about creating an emotional tone for Halo 4, it's about creating an emotional tone for every single moment and experience that the player needs to understand.
Similar to what movie said is that, we build what we need to see. We can't look too far this way or it starts to fall apart.
Yeah, of course, and that makes sense, right? Like, making assets is time consuming and time equals money. So if you don't need something in a cutscene or in the game, let's not waste any time building it, that makes a lot of sense.
But back in here, things are looking good.
Film is like, I'm going to create something and it's going to be awesome and I'm going to polish it and I'm going to own it, but I'm going to share it with you, which is very different than game storytelling, which is I'm going to give you all the tools, I'm going to give you all the possibilities, and it's up to you to discover it.
Answering.
And seeing all the studio looking at the screen like that, I miss that, man. Working from home sucks. Not that much of a fan. I miss being in studio with all my colleagues and really have the feel of working towards a singular goal, I miss that so much, man.
Questions and answering the directions that the narrative had already taken to find the path forward for us as we started to tell the story.
We're always telling these huge, big stories. We've got Infinity, it's the biggest ship that has ever been launched. We've got Requiem, which is like the biggest Forerunner artifact we've ever found. But in the middle of all of that, we've got this very small personal story between Master Chief and Cortana.
Yep, and that's something that really worked well in Halo 4, I think. I actually preferred the dynamic between Chief and Cortana in the game than the actual story with the Didact. I really dislike the Didact. I don't like him, probably because they wasted the boss fight and everything. And also, you guys told me in the comments that he's not dead at the end of Halo 4, right? Which I knew because, he talks, right? But they actually kill him in a comic? What the fuck? Why? Why? Just kill him in the fucking game if you're planning on killing him in the fucking transmedia. I hate that. I complete dislike on my part on that, guys. Hate it.
Story with every detail that you put into a game. Immersion is really what allows somebody to believe your universe and also to become emotionally caught up in your universe.
Ready to get back to work?
I thought you'd never ask.
How do we make sure the sights and the sounds and the things that they're feeling as a player inhabiting that suit really comes through more clearly? And, technology has allowed us to do that with much higher fidelity than back in the CE days.
Okay, so those are definitely bigger ones.
True.
Yeah, those start to get. Just because we've got more people.
Let's roll video. Yeah. So this will be just video and audio only, no face, no mocap.
In that case, you won't mind if we return the favor.
As we design these things, we put together the best plan. Until it actually touches an actor, it lacks humanity.
Having the ability to work with the actors on stage, capturing their face, body, and voice at the same time, really gives us an opportunity to create a immersive experience for the actors.
Working at Giant, we can have at least 8 actors in the same volume at the same time.
So the objects that they're acting around and the people that they're acting with, against, through, and toward are there in the scene with them, and it makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, definitely. Motion capture is kind of the norm nowadays, but as you mentioned there, during Halo 4 came out in 2012. So yeah, that was about the time where a lot of games were starting to use motion capture a lot. Because the other way to do it, animation by key, I think. I'm not an animator, so I don't know the specifics, but basically it's you put keys on the timeline of your animation to dictate where a specific bone should be. And that is really time consuming. And obviously it doesn't create the same amount of fidelity as having an actual human being moving makes, Motion capture is not perfect, but then the animators can go ahead and modify the capture sequence that they have in order to polish it and transform it however they want, right?
We sent out a breakdown for the characters and how we wanted them to feel. We ended up getting 80 or 90 submissions back through our casting team.
Casting for the Master Chief is tough. You need a performer that has a really raw physicality to him, and yet he has to, within the confines of this suit, be able to relate and relay emotion.
I like to express myself. I freely do it. I wholly do it. I enjoy it. And so pulling back on all of those instincts is what's required to play him.
Imagine that translating to a 3D model with huge armor and making sure the personality of Chief's movement comes through that armor was really critical. And that really came down to Bruce's acting, his physical stature, and really his physicality as he went through all of the performance.
You'll never see his face or hear his voice, but all of the other actors that are playing off of him have received so much from him in their performances, and I think that they would all agree with that.
That's very cool. And it's a good point, too.
As asset of Chief, we were afforded a little bit more budget since he's our hero.
From the art process, storytelling is just about engaging the player. You don't have to answer any questions. You don't have to take them through a lot of loops of feeling. If the player's engaged, I think you've got the start.
So Master Chief's a difficult one because he's a dude in a helmet.
There's such a, particularly in science fiction, such a fantastic history of people being completely realized as people without having their face as a tool.
For us, it's making him feel like a real person. We have a nude male sculpt, and then from there we sculpt it on physically a tech suit.
And on top of this guy is when we spend time just doing all the details and trying to add some of that functionality.
See, I don't hate the job that they did in Halo 4, right? Chief looks really nice like that, but I think that what I don't like about his design necessarily in Halo 4 compared to the other ones is that you see the if you take an example of how I'm dressed right now, right? Imagine the leopard part is like the armor and the tank top underneath is kind of like the bodysuit. You see too much of the suit in Halo 4, there's too much black. It's not like that huge blocky green armor everywhere that protects him. I think that's what I don't specifically like about the design of that armor. However, it does look really good, right?
Even little bits here and there like Braille, and this just reads 117.
I think it's connected to having even more modern visual flow when it comes to his lines, his design, the way you follow the outline of Master Chief.
Trying to put it into an area where it feels realistic, that it feels kind of tankish.
What do you think of a tank? You think square, you think metal, there's some wear and tear on the edges. So those things we want to grab, put them on the Chief so it communicates that.
One thing that I do like a lot about Chief's design in 4 is the wear and tear. The dude has been through basically the Covenant Wars, right? And the final actions that he took in Halo 3 is, the whole arc exploding and him being in a ship that then explodes in half, So, he's not doing too good, So I actually like that they took that into consideration in its character design, and that in Halo 4, since it's for him, it's basically he destroys the arc, he goes to sleep, and then Halo 4, right? There's no time passes for him, right? And his armor. So it makes a lot of sense that it's still really busted. I really enjoy that detail a lot.
Fingers are missing here on these. They have armor caps that come on, but he doesn't have armor caps on his trigger finger or thumb finger so that he could have more tactile sense when he's shooting and loading his weaponry.
Nice.
The last thing we just changed was his visor. His visor picks up the elements based on the room that he's in.
We want to take every inch of the character to tell a story as much as we can.
Above all, he still needs to connect to the player, and they still need to understand him as being that character. It's somebody who's been very loved over the last 10 years.
Nice shit.
The irony here, right, is that we have a character who's not human at all in Cortana.
I was put into service 8 years ago.
She is the most human character that we have in the story.
True.
Right? She's struggling with her own mortality.
AIs deteriorate after 7, Chief.
That's something that everybody struggles with. That's the most, human it gets.
If we can just get back to Earth and find Halsey, she can fix this.
Everyone has to figure out what it means to die.
She's strong, she's convicted. She herself is going through a really difficult time in understanding the things that are happening to her.
We were looking for somebody who really could bring just fire and stuff that's required for some of those sequences.
We needed to make sure we found someone that had some innocence to her, but also could be very strong at the same time.
If you imagine that you could have 20 emotions at one time, she has that. I will not allow you to leave this planet!
She's really the heart of the game and the heart of Master Chief, and explains what's going on and why it's a problem.
I actually really liked Cortana's arc in Halo 4. It was really interesting, and it was so sad, and that actually was easy for me to be on board in as a player, because you've been following Cortana in chief for so long now, right? That having her being in danger with the rampancy and everything, like, that's an automatic hook, right? Like, you got me. Like, I care about her. That is a great way to hook me into the story right from the get-go, for sure.
I didn't mean to do that.
Cortana is certainly our biggest human connection, I think, with the entire story.
How can we see these subtle details in her facial structure?
It's the Forerunner symbol for Reclaimer.
So this is the baseline where we started from Cortana, and then we go through and tweak and modify, having all these different elements moving throughout her that make her feel alive constantly. We wanted to make it to where you could have code flow lines start from every digit from her toes to her hands, and then be able to flow all the way up into her head.
What you experience is her taking care of you as a player from a gameplay perspective, but I think you also start to get a sense of how she takes care of the human side of Chief.
True.
Wake me when you need me.
They spotted us.
Bringing Jen and Steve in and having them layer their voices over the character performances in the cinematics, that just brought the whole experience together.
You look at just the number of lines that the Chief has had over the course of the franchise, and it's not a lot.
How much firepower would you need?
And yet people will immediately call you out on the Master Chief's voice being something very distinctive and important to them.
The funny thing is that they've had this off-screen chemistry because they didn't actually meet until last year.
Not only is this the first time they've ever sat together on a panel, this is the first time they've ever been in the same room or even met.
So seeing them meet and seeing them have that chemistry in real life and seeing how they acted together in scenes, just felt like we just missed this opportunity for all these years to actually get them together and get something even more memorable and more exciting out of them.
In the beginning, they were great choices for those characters. Steve has this very stoic personality that comes through in his few words. The same way Jen's voice is confident and it's strong, but it can also be playful.
You do know you don't have to wait until the last minute just to impress me, right?
In many ways, Halo 4 is the first act.
We want to
It's a new beginning,
ask themselves
for sure.
what it is to be a hero. Is the sacrifice worth it?
I often think of him as like Atlas, like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders all the time.
Chief and Cortana are the same person, but she has always been the reflection of his humanity.
People don't play Halo to watch a soap opera, and yet you don't want to just be kind of pulp.
To me, it's a natural progression of this story, and it takes this relationship to the place it should go to.
Don't make a girl a promise you can't keep.
Oh man, this hits differently now that I know how the game ends. Oh. The comments are turned off. I'm wondering if they turned it off because like it was overwhelmingly negative or something. I don't know. Making games is hard, guys, and when the fans aren't happy, you know it. But yeah, guys, that's going to be all for today. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'm going to see you in the next episode. Have a good one.